Amazon's Rings of Power is giving us a very different version of Galadriel than the Galadriel that we see in The Lord of the Rings or the Third Age. I've seen a lot of people who are understandably confused by the seeming juxtaposition of Galadriel in Amazon's Rings of Power versus the version of Galadriel that most of us would be familiar with, which is Galadriel in The Lord of the Rings in the Third Age. But rather than seeing these two different versions of Galadriel at odds with one another, I would like to present how they can complement one another if we understand the context of who she is in these periods of her life. They can give us a deeper understanding of her character and the role that she plays in Tolkien's legendarium. If you've only experienced the works of Tolkien through the Peter Jackson films and the new Rings of Power series, this detail might be a new one for you, and if you're a longtime fan, it might be something you forgot about. So let's go on a walk with my dog Billy and talk about it. One important note to make before we begin this analysis of Galadriel is that she was a character that Tolkien changed his mind on very often. Galadriel seemed to be a character that Tolkien wasn't able to make up his mind about. So if you read through his letters and the works published while he was alive and then the works published after he passed away, you'll see that there are many different versions of this beloved character. And while he changed his mind on a lot of things and details when it comes to Galadriel, there are some things that do remain the same. And probably most notably is that she was tempted by power and a desire for dominion in Middle-earth. And it's that temptation that gives us a through line from who Amazon in Rings of Power is portraying Galadriel to be, to who we see her in The Lord of the Rings in the Third Age. Tolkien writes in Unfinished Tales that Galadriel in her youth was proud, self-willed, and strong, and that she willingly took part in the rebellion of the Noldor. And though she did not participate in the kinslayings, and she fought against her uncle Feanor in some versions, she did sail away from Valinor for the purpose of seeking out lands in Middle-earth that she could claim as her own dominion. And it's those flaws in her character, her pridefulness, her selfish ambition, her will to dominate and temptation for power that I find most interesting and gives me a deeper appreciation for who she matures into in the Third Age. When we get to the Third Age and we see Galadriel experience one of the most significant moments of her life when Frodo comes to Lothlorien and she is tempted by the One Ring, that we have a deeper appreciation for what goes on in that moment. As portrayed in such a stunning way in Peter Jackson's films, we see, pulled straight from the book, when Galadriel is tempted by the ring and she says, "In place of a dark lord, you would have a queen, not beautiful, but terrible as the dawn." And there we see her again, realizing she is still tempted by power. And Tolkien gives us even deeper insight into what that moment means for Galadriel specifically in Unfinished Tales, and I'm going to read that passage from the book now. Pride still moved her when, at the end of the Elder Days, after the final overthrow of Morgoth, she refused the pardon of the Valar for all who had fought against him, and remained in Middle-earth. It was not until 2 long ages more had passed, when at last all she had desired in her youth came to her hand, the Ring of Power and the dominion of Middle-earth of which she had dreamed, that her wisdom was full-grown, and she rejected it, and passing the last test, departed from Middle-earth forever. Now, is the Rings of Power's portrayal of Galadriel perfect? No. I have my own significant critiques of how they're portraying her character, but I can also appreciate that they are showing us the youthful version of Galadriel, where she is prideful, where she makes mistakes, where she is tempted by the darkness. Because those aspects of Galadriel are included in how Tolkien wrote the character. And when I watch Rings of Power's Galadriel and the mistakes that she makes, I have a deeper appreciation for who I see her as in the Third Age in The Lord of the Rings. Whether that detail was new to you or something you had forgotten about, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you love doing Lord of the Rings deep dives like the one I presented here, I want to let you know that I am hosting a read-through of the Lord of the Rings over on my Tolkien Substack mini meetings, and we start September 22nd. Because of the amount of work it takes to host these read-throughs, this will be for paid subscribers only, but for the next 24 hours, I am offering 30% off of all paid subscriptions, which means you can sign up for the read-through for as little as $2.92 a month. And if this is the first time you're seeing a video from us, hi, I'm Brienne. This is Billy. We go on walks, we talk about Tolkien, sometimes we talk about other things, and you are welcome to come along if you like.